Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another episode of the Just Sing Podcast. Today, we will be talking about the Big Fish Complex. This is a part of the EntrepreNEGUS series that I kind of got running. I kind of like how it's flowing, to be honest with you. But this will be EntrepreNEGUS 6, the Big Fish Complex. I wanted to talk about this because I feel like not too long ago, I just did an impromptu pop-up on imposter syndrome. And I've learned that that one could have been EntrepreNEGUS episode 2, but I just didn't make it one. But imposter syndrome is something that affects a lot of people, especially people coming into entrepreneurship and different things of that nature. And just progression as a whole, sometimes feeling like you're not supposed to be in that spot when you really are. But, shit happens, certain things happen and, certain mindsets and mentalities, they affect us, that make us feel as if we're not supposed to be in a certain space. So the Big Fish Complex, that's what I'm gonna call this. The Big Fish Complex is kind of goes in line with this. It kind of goes, I'm not necessarily gonna say hand in hand, but I'm thinking that the Big Fish Complex is kind of like the opposite side of imposter syndrome, or it is why imposter syndrome becomes so comfortable, or whatever the case may be. I don't know. We'll elaborate as we go on. But the Big Fish Complex, I like to look at it like this. There's like a level where you reach a certain point and you have a choice to make. Do you remain the big fish in a small pond, or do you become the small fish in the ocean? And a lot of people, I've done it, don't get me wrong. But a lot of times, like, people, when they're at that cusp of breaking through to the next level, they get afraid and they'd rather stay the big fish in a small pond than become the small fish in the ocean, because things change. You're now in a different caliber. You're now in a different structure. You're now having to maneuver with equals. Like, I was just working on a jam session. I even made a post about it. It's lonely at the top when you're afraid to befriend your equals. That is a powerful sentiment, and that is tied to the Big Fish Complex. You feel what I'm saying? Because I've noticed that a lot of people have always said that it's going to be lonely at the top. It's going to be lonely at the top. How you going to be? And it will always be people that I've learned would want me to stay in the same place that I was in. But I will also hear the people. I tell people, yo, man, it's like, I don't even want to do so much and go so far because it's like, it's lonely at the top. They're like, fuck that. You'll make new friends. And I was like, all right. I mean, I get it. Yeah, but it's like, I want to take my day ones with you. And I had one person put it into perspective for me. I have a couple people, but one person in particular stood out, because they were one of the first people to tell me. He was like, bro, if you're choosing to stay in this same space, what the fuck are you doing it for? Like, you feel me? You like, why are you doing what you're doing? And that's any aspect in life. So it's like, this Big Fish Complex, it kind of, it keeps you from going to that next level. I got another homeboy. You feel me? He was one of the first people that, like, was a real entrepreneur. And I'm going to discuss this conversation in this episode. But he was like one of the first entrepreneurs that I met. And he kind of put shit into perspective for me. He told me one phrase that kind of correlates with the lonely at the top line I just said. Like, it's lonely at the top when you're afraid to befriend your equals. He always told me, he said, yo, new faces, new places. He said, if you're going to be an entrepreneur, if you're going to be a successful one, he said, you got to meet people. You got to meet people. He said that every new face that you meet is going to take you to a new place some way. You feel me? He said, whether that be a physical place, a mental place, mental capacity, like, financial capacity, like, every new face is going to take you to a new place, But he's like, you can't be afraid of the new places. Therefore, you shouldn't be afraid of the new faces. But to be afraid of them ties back into that Big Fish Complex. You feel what I'm saying? And not wanting to make new friends when you get at the top. You feel me? Because when you get at the top, there's other motherfuckers that are at, like, people be like, it's lonely at the top. It's not. It's not. It's just that when motherfuckers make it to the top, they have the big fish complex because they're used to being the big fish in a small pond. Now they're no longer the big fish in a small pond. They now become a small fish in the ocean. And that's hard to navigate. That's hard as fuck to navigate because now you're not only the small fish in the ocean, you're now seeing bigger fish that have been in the ocean that are already in the ocean. And that kind of fucks with you. You feel what I'm saying? So that's why I said this kind of goes in with the imposter syndrome in a sense, but it's a little bit deeper. You feel me? And I think like this is the next aspect after imposter syndrome that people have to get over. You feel what I'm saying? But before we dive heavy into it, be sure to follow me on Instagram at _just_scene_. Be sure to check out my website at IamJustScene.com to get my book, So Frail a Reality to Black Male Masculinity, Hitting the Raw, Living a Raw, Plant-Based Lifestyle for Life. And then So Frail 2 Toxic Femininity, the So Frail series, basically. If you're looking to enroll in any of my courses, you can do so at IamJustScene.com. And you can also book chatting sessions, get your merchandise as well. To all of the people who tip, sponsor, and donate to the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, sponsor, and donate to the podcast, you can do so by clicking the description of your podcast. Not necessarily the episode, but the podcast itself on whatever your platform is. Also, be sure to like, review, and share the podcast with your friends and family. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to share it. So that's about it. We're going to take a quick break, and when I come back, we're going to dive into EntrepreNEGUS 6, the Big Fish Complex. Oh yeah, and don't forget to visit IamJustScene.com. There, you can get all things Just Scene. You want to add the So Frail series to your library? Visit IamJustScene.com. You want to learn how to master the market for serious trading and investing? Visit IamJustScene.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit IamJustScene.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit IamJustScene.com. You ever want to just chat with Scene about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit IamJustScene.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustScene.com. So just take a quick peek into my world and see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it. You will never see it unless you visit IamJustScene.com. All right. Welcome back. Without further ado, we're going to hop straight into EntrepreNEGUS 6, the Big Fish Complex. So with the Big Fish Complex, like, it's something I've been, facing, dealing with, just really rationalizing for a long time. And the idea came to me when I was looking at the metaphor of killer whales, the orcas, and I was watching National Geographic one day, and in watching National Geographic, like, the reason why is because I chose the orca because, motherfucker, when you talk about entrepreneurship and you talk about, like, a lot of people say sharks in the water, they make it seem like it's so fucked up, like it's always, a kill type thing. You feel me? So that kind of fucks with a lot of entrepreneurs' mentality. They feel like they always got to be in a position where you're always, being, like, not necessarily devious, but you're always being on the attack. And that's not the case. It's not about always being on the attack, because you got to be on defense too. You dig what I'm saying? So, like, my perspective came up with that. Like, I was watching National Geographic and I seen the orcas. You feel me? Now I know this is going to seem contradictory after what I just said about, being on attack. But they was fucking this dolphin up. They was beating the shit out of this dolphin, right? I mean, fucking it up. Like, came into the wrong territory, right? But that's when I started watching the show. But after that, I started to see how they rolled together in a pack. You feel me? They swam for a long period of time. Like, they kept a cohesive unit. They had a nice team. Nobody really fucked with them. The great white sharks didn't even fuck with them. You feel me? Like, they was fucking shit up. Like, and but at the same time, they weren't bothering nobody. No, I take that back. It wasn't a dolphin. It was a great white shark that was fucking up. But anyway, the great white shark, it kind of swam into their shit and, started shit, and they fucked him up. So, But I've seen in the cohesive unit of how they were moving and shit, how they were traveling, hundreds of miles a day, just, you know what I'm saying, putting in work. You feel me? And then it was crazy because, like, right after that, a commercial came on for SeaWorld, and Shamu's on this motherfucker. And I'm like, Shamu's a killer whale, but he would die in the motherfucking ocean. And then that's where the metaphor came up. Because Shamu is still an orca. You feel me? But he's not an orca. You dig what I'm saying? Shamu turns tricks. You feel me? He's been trained. He swims within a small radius. He doesn't really have much travel. He's, or she, whatever the fuck Shamu is, he's the big fish in the small pond. Right? The orcas, on the other hand, they're the small fish in the ocean. Now, orcas are still big, but there's other big shit in the fucking water. Whales, fucking other great white sharks, motherfucking hammerhead sharks, the different types of whales, because the orca is a type of whale. They call it the killer whale or whatever, but it's like you have the beluga whales, you have blue whales, gray whales, you have fucking great white sharks, hammerheads, fucking seals, you have octopus, you have fucking a lot of shit in the fucking ocean playing their own position. You dig what I'm saying? And I've learned that that's what it's like to be an entrepreneur. You feel me? I've learned that's what it's like to be an entrepreneur. And a lot of us, and this is where like the battle comes in, because you have what it is to be entrepreneur minded, and then you have what it is to be an entrepreneur. Two different things, two different conceptualizations, and this is something that I've learned how to transition my intention into with meeting new people. Because when I first started as an entrepreneur, and always keep this in mind, like whenever you go to the next level, always shift your mindset to what that level requires. But when I first started as an entrepreneur, I was just entrepreneur minded. I had to create the mindset within myself before I was actually an entrepreneur. Yeah, you can call yourself, I'm an entrepreneur in this regard, but you can be just operating from the mindset, right? And so the entrepreneur mindset is equivalent to being Shamu. Yeah, I'm still an orca. You feel me? Yeah, I'm a killer whale. You feel me? On paper, I don't look the same. You feel what I'm saying? I mean, on paper, I look the same as the other killer whales and shit. But am I a killer whale? Not by nature sense. Fuck no, I'm a trained animal. You feel me? I'm a circus show. Now, this is not to say that being entrepreneur minded makes you a clown or puts you in a circus state, but just follow me on it as I break it down and explain what I'm talking about. Like, the entrepreneur mindset is like, people love watching the hustle. People love watching the hustle, just the same as people love watching Shamu. You feel what I'm saying? They love watching the hustle, And when I first developed my entrepreneur mindset, I was still an employee at the time. You feel what I'm saying? So, and I'm still trying to work and everything like that. So now you have that entrepreneur mindset, and people are seeing you do all these things, and it's kind of hyping you up. Low key, it's kind of making you turn tricks. I'm not saying you're doing it for show, because you are doing it for a purpose, right? But the entrepreneur mindset is cool. Studying the books and reading and having all of the theory and knowing what things go in and being able to talk to people who don't know what it is. You feel me? That's cool as fuck. It makes you feel like you're an entrepreneur. When people are now coming to you as, hey, yo, what about the advice for this? How do I do this? How do I work this out? Like, what do you think I should do about investing? What do you think about you? You have the mindset, which means you have some of the theory, some of the information behind it. Not much practical use. Not much practical application. You feel me? But at the same time, you're in the mindset, you're Shamu. You're like Shamu. You feel me? People are coming to you. People are coming to see you. People are there because it's like, yo, you feel me? I can learn from you, bro. I like, or sis, I like how you putting this together. I like how you doing this. Like, yo, tell me about this. That can make you feel like you're the top dog. You are the quote unquote big fish in the ocean. Big fish in the pond. In this case, it's Shamu, it's the big fish in the tank, but you're the big fish in the pond. Ain't nobody bigger than you. You feel me? Ain't nobody really bigger than you. You might fuck with a couple other big fish in the pond that are still in the pond with you, and that can reaffirm that you should stay there. But it keeps you in that space of, you get your confidence from that, But at some point, that confidence turns to ego because it doesn't get any bigger. It doesn't transition into what it's supposed to. You feel what I'm saying? So this complex develops, and as this complex develops, you're hanging in that loop. You're hanging in that loop, and the mentality of, I got this shit. I got the right mindset to stay an entrepreneur. Hell, some people hop into MLM. Some people hop into these motivational things. A lot of motivational speakers fuck with the mindset of people, not the action of them. They fuck with the mindset. We'll get to the action part in a few. But they hype. And I feel like the motivational speakers are like the trainers for SeaWorld. Trainers for Shamu. Oh yeah, I'm going to show you how to turn a trick. I'm going to show you how to look presentable. I'm going to show you how to do these things. They get in front of you and say, you can do this. You can do this. You can do this. They share a little bit of their story and everything like that. And they motivate you. They train you to have the mindset of an entrepreneur. But at what point do they train you, or do they show you how to be the entrepreneur? Not to think like an entrepreneur, but to be an entrepreneur. And I get it. Religious texts, whatever the case may be, they say, a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. That's a fallacy. You could think in your heart all day long and still not be doing the action. You don't become the thing until you do the action. You feel what I'm saying? Having thoughts, I know this is going to seem a little rough, but having thoughts killing a motherfucker don't make you a killer till you kill something. You feel me? I heard that shit all the time growing up. You ain't never met a killer till he kill you. You feel me? That's like, damn, bro. Like, it's real shit. You feel me? You hear music all day long, motherfuckers shoot. And these motherfuckers are still walking around free. Talking about all the motherfuckers they would kill, could kill. They got the killer mindset. They ain't killers, though. Because they ain't killed shit. You feel me? Disclaimer, this is not me telling you to go kill something if you've had the killer mindset. I'm speaking of entrepreneurship. All right? So, it's cool when people are coming to see you for your mindset and doing all of these things. And, Shamu is the shit. Shamu is the shit. He's the main attraction in motherfucking SeaWorld. You might come walk around to see the dolphins and see all of that shit, but who's the big show? Who's you coming to see? Fucking Shamu. And that's where we get stuck in. We get stuck in being seen. We get stuck in being just having an entrepreneur mindset and being around people who were trying to get to the entrepreneur mindset who don't really have it. And I kind of caught on to this a lot with relationships because, like, I always said I wanted a woman with an entrepreneur mind. You feel me? Like, she got to be entrepreneur minded, about, doing entrepreneur shit. And I kept running into women who were entrepreneur minded, but they weren't entrepreneurs yet. Like, they had the ideas, they had the things that they want to do, but something was keeping them from that point. I was bringing things into fruition, so I was kind of fluctuating between back and forth, but it was cool just to have the mindset enough, I felt. You feel me? At the same time, prior also, because I still had a job. You feel me? I still had income. I'm not really worried about the side part yet. You feel me? I'm not focused on it. And that keeps us in the entrepreneur mindset. We learned I read all of the books. You feel me? Attended all the webinars. I pretty much did everything that was sustaining the mindset. I eventually became the big fish in a small pond. That happens to a lot of us. We become the big fish in a small pond. We become Shamu. And like I said, on paper, it's cool. It looks good. Yo, I'm Shamu, motherfucker. Like, I'm the orca. And we think that compares to it. You feel me? Until Shamu, let's say now this doesn't happen. They usually put the motherfucker down. They don't send him back into the wild because you can't. You cannot. I don't give a fuck if it's a lion, tiger, bear. It don't matter. You cannot send a domesticated animal back into the wild. You can't. That animal now transitions from being the big fish in the small pond to the small fish in the ocean. It doesn't work. You feel me? I was watching Madagascar and motherfucking Alex the lion and shit. Motherfucking, I learned a lot of metaphors from a lot of shit. But Alex the lion, he was the king of New York. They put that motherfucker back in Africa, and he was a circus show. You feel me? He was a circus show. When it was time for him to fight, he got his ass whooped when he was fighting for the title to be the alpha male. He wasn't even an alpha. He wasn't even a beta. You feel me? On show he was. On the surface, like when he go in New York City and shit, you yell and you roar and they start cheering for you and shit. Nah, your roar has lost its power. You feel me? When a lion roars, it's supposed to put fear into you. But within the confines of what, of shit like that, it doesn't. It's kind of like what the entrepreneur mindset is, That shit doesn't frighten entrepreneurs. It frightens people who aren't entrepreneurs. Or, what I'm saying? It doesn't give attention to the entrepreneur. It gives attention to those with the entrepreneur mindset, that roar, that I can do this, I got this, you know what I'm saying? And this is kind of the fluctuation between where imposter syndrome kicks in. You dig what I'm saying? Because you start to realize, you feel like I'm supposed to be in these spaces, but it's your mindset versus your action. It's your thoughts versus your action that is the battle that brings the imposter syndrome on. You feel me? So when we're in that entrepreneur mindset space, yeah, we learn all of the theory, but then it's like something holds us back. Something holds us back from going to that next step. And I'm learning that the thing that holds us back is when we actually see the ocean. We get in that motherfucker. Ain't no cheers in the ocean. You feel me? Ain't no cheers in the ocean. It's a lot different. It's a lot different. Where swimming around in the motherfucking tank for 8 hours and shit, and having your food thrown to you and shit like that, it's like, I got this. I'm the one. How my niece, she watched this crazy show and shit about vampires and zombies and shit. And it's a song in that bitch. They be like, I'm the alpha, I'm the leader. And she be saying that shit to me and shit. But it's like, you feel like that, yo, I'm the alpha, I'm the leader. I done put in the work for the entrepreneurial mindset, and the people that I'm around don't have it. I'm teaching them how to get the mindset, but I'm not teaching them how to be the entrepreneur yet, because it's different. You feel me? So I got the mindset. I'm putting in the work to have a mindset to be able to think like an entrepreneur and all of this shit. I go to I watch all of the YouTube motivational videos and shit to keep my mindset, to keep my shit on point. When you actually become an entrepreneur, you don't have to turn your motivation on and off. Like your motivation doesn't have to come from somebody else. You now bring that shit out of yourself. You feel me? You now bring yourself, you bring your that motivation out of you. You don't have to go sit and watch the whole hour videos and constantly bombard your mind and program your shit to be right. You just do it because it's already programmed. You just do the shit. You feel what I'm saying? So you take that leap and you say, I'm going to now be the big fish. It's time for me to be the big fish in the ocean. Not realizing you got to be a small motherfucking fish first. You feel me? You got to be a small motherfucking fish. So like I said, they put Shamu down. After, the motherfucker can't do shit anymore, they bring another Shamu in to replace him. Or they're already training him. So by the time he's big enough, you feel me? When the shit's closed and they know he's done, they just switch him. Don't nobody know the Shamu's been switched. They just know Shamu. Shamu been there for a long period of time, but ain't nobody ever seen Shamu be born or die. Like, Shamu's just been there. You feel me? Because he's being switched out. But Shamu can't go back in the ocean. But let's say hypothetically Shamu does go back in the ocean, right? Now, this is where now I'm talking about the mindset. Your mindset is now it's time to get into the ocean. All right. I put in my work. I'm ready to get. This is why I always say, don't listen to these motherfuckers who say shit like, sometimes you got to take that. Like, there's a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of coaches, a lot of motivational speakers saying you got to quit your job. So you can't. You can't. They're not teaching you the real about this shit. You cannot be Shamu and think you just gonna go back into the ocean. You're gonna get fucked up. You're gonna get fucked up. Your food isn't given to you on schedule anymore. You feel me? It's not thrown in a bucket for you to go eat at your leisure. Nah, it's other motherfuckers that want your food too once you get in the ocean. You gotta secure that spot. Let motherfuckers know this is my shit. Don't fuck with me. You feel me? They're not showing you that part. You feel me? You can't just quit your job. I'm telling you straight up, do not quit your job. If you are just entrepreneur minded and you making a few dollars, few sales, few moves, whatever here and there, don't quit your job until your fucking side hustles match and supersede your income. You need to leverage that shit consistently, not just, I matched my check one time. No, don't do no shit like that. Because now your stress is going to kick in. You're going to have a whole different dynamic that you got to deal with. Don't do it. You feel me? Don't just leave SeaWorld and go straight to the motherfucking Pacific Ocean. Get your ass whooped. All right? But anyway, back to the topic. So, Shamu, the SeaWorld says, you know what? You're too big for this. You're old. Let's send you back to the ocean. You feel me? I know they don't send them back to the ocean. Follow the metaphor. So you go back to the ocean. You don't get applause anymore. You feel me? You don't get congratulations. You don't get none of that shit no more like you used to. When you just had the mindset and you were talking to people, everybody was looking in awe. Oh my gosh, like how do you're so dope. You're so this. You're around motherfuckers who are just as dope. You're around motherfuckers who are doing this shit all, and now you have to befriend them and you can't. Because now it's no longer about, you have people that have been in that have already left the mindset years on in. People who are actively doing this shit. People who have made their own clique. You feel me? People who have made their own little huddles and shit. And now you're seeing the different niches that you have to maneuver through. And you got to find where you belong. And that imposter syndrome will kick in because like, I don't think I belong with this point. You feel me? So it's like, fuck the ocean for a minute. It's like, I don't even belong with the orcas, bro. I don't even belong with the other entrepreneurs. These motherfuckers out here killing sharks. You feel me? They running in packs. They got cliques and shit. They know exactly when to eat. And they eat when they get hungry. You feel me? And they know how to maneuver through these motherfucking waters. They swim for 100. Like, yo, the biggest I've ever swam was fucking out of an 8-foot radius. Some shit like that. I swam back and forth. These motherfuckers swim where they want to. You feel what I'm saying? If I pull up to the beach and see some fucking humans, they gonna run from me. They gonna be scared. Oh my gosh, it's a killer whale. Run. No, y'all wasn't doing that shit when I was Shamu. What the fuck? Y'all was clapping for me and keeping me hype and shit. It's different now. It's different now. That big fish complex. And now it starts, you get humble, for lack of a better term. You feel me? I don't really like the word humble, but it's what it is. Because now you now get humiliated. Because what you thought was good, what you thought was cool, you can't bang with. But you never prepared for this because you couldn't. You can't prepare for entrepreneurship. You can develop the mindset to get you ready, but once you're in that shit, you got to constantly, be on the move, be on the attack. You got to be on point. You feel me? There's motherfuckers that want your spot. There's motherfuckers that ain't going to lose their spot. And there's motherfuckers who are creating several spots. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, I'm going to go fuck with these octopus today. You feel me? Because the octopus got something I can work with. You feel me? I'm going to go fuck with these beluga whales and shit. You feel me? Learn why they eat krill as opposed to eating, bigger shit. You feel me? I'm going to go maneuver all of these different ways. You feel me? Different outlets on how I can, be on point in this ocean because I need to know how everybody else moves. You dig what I'm saying? I need to know how everybody else moves because if I know how everybody else starts to move, I can learn to move better. You feel me? So that's when we come into the actual entrepreneur position. You can have an entrepreneur mind and not be an entrepreneur. You feel me? That's that big fish complex. You feel me? That right there is the motherfucking big fish complex. And that is what hinders a lot of people. Just having the mindset of an entrepreneur. You dig what I'm saying? So like I said, when I would notice the relationships and the friendships that I was involving myself with, it was, I'd rather be comfortable with the entrepreneur-minded people. You feel me? I mean, yeah, I got shit out. I got shit that I'm doing, but as long as I can keep practicing the theory and keep regurgitating the theory to motherfuckers, then I'm cool, But once you in that world full on, ain't no more theory. It's all action. It's all action. It's the time to say, all that I've learned, now I can put it to use. I have to put it to use. You feel me? That theory is cool, but experience is so much better. You feel me? Experience is so much better. So it's like, a lot of people decide, okay, I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to fuck with the entrepreneur side that's cookie cutter. The shit's already done. I just got to plug into it. And we think, like, my first, entrepreneur thing was like an MLM. You feel me? That's a lot of our things. You feel me? And it's just like, they teach you, it's cookie cutter. All you have to do is follow the system. It works and do it. And after you put in 2 or 3 years and shit, and it should work for you. Nope. That is just the function of being entrepreneur minded. And it's for the easy people. It's for the easy people. The true entrepreneur is the one who has put all of that shit together and convinced the motherfuckers to come fuck with him. You feel me? I'm going to be the trainer for SeaWorld. I'm going to be the owner of SeaWorld. I'm going to have motherfuckers train you as Shamu. As to be my motherfucking main attraction. I'm going to create several different Shamus. You feel me? Make them feel good. You know, a lot of them aren't really entrepreneurs because as an entrepreneur, you can do it anywhere. You feel me? You won't just have to replicate the thing you're doing. You know, the systems to do other things. So that's a hindering piece of a lot of people. Just having the mindset. So like I said, you start your MLM, you get it. And that's your first little taste of entrepreneurship. You feel me? Your first little taste of entrepreneurship. And a lot of people, because they're so used to that programmable system of cookie cutter shit, they don't know how to adapt in the ocean. They don't know how to adapt when it's time to make the necessary changes. Oh, this isn't working. It doesn't mean quit. It means adjust. You feel me? That's what I feel like. That's one of the defining pieces between somebody who's just entrepreneur minded and someone who's an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur minded person, if they see the difficulty, they'll quit and they'll feel like, oh, it just ain't for me. No, the entrepreneur figures a way around the shit. It's just, oh, this ain't working. Let's make it. How do I make it work? You feel me? It's not that like with just the mindset, you're like, okay, this must not be my lane. So I'm not going to go into it. Now the entrepreneur say, okay, well, let me learn how to drive. Let me learn how to drive in this motherfucker. What do I need to do to stay in this motherfucking space? You feel me? That's the difference between just being a thinker and being a doer. Don't get me wrong. You have to think before you do. You got to learn these theories. You got to learn the different aspects of thought to be able to sustain yourself in this space. But at the same time, it's more action and experience than anything. You feel what I'm saying? It's more action and experience than anything. And so when you develop that big fish complex, big fish in a small pond type mindset, you know, comfortable being Shamu, you know, it can scare you. You know, once you hit that ocean, I got to go back to SeaWorld, bro. I'd rather turn tricks and have my shit given to me than motherfucking be out here figuring shit out, you know. But it fucks with you because once you taste the ocean, you see it different. You can't go back. You can't go back. You have already done too much to go back. So now you have to figure out how to go forward. You feel me? And that is the piece that turns you into an entrepreneur. That is the piece that turns you into an entrepreneur. You now become a doer because now you're like, okay, how do I rock with this? Because like I said, it's lonely at the top when you're not willing to befriend your equals. If you're not willing to roll with the killer whales that are in the fucking water already, you want to stay like, think about it. Shamu ain't got no clique. Shamu has no clique. He has no motherfuckers that, or she, whatever Shamu is, it has no motherfuckers that it fucks with collectively on a regular basis. You feel me? Is your circle like that? Is your circle full of entrepreneurs? Or are you the only one that's in the space with the entrepreneur mind around motherfuckers who don't even think like that? And it gives you the ego boost. I think different from y'all. Like, yo, we got to get this paper. We got to get this money. I'm trying to do all this. And you're just around motherfuckers who ain't really thinking like that. So it makes you feel good. You feel me? It makes you feel good to be able to say, okay, now I'm bringing people up to this level and shit and seeing who's who. I started to pay attention to the motherfuckers that was in my circle, that was coming into my space. They weren't quite entrepreneurs. They just had the entrepreneur mind. Watch a few videos here, look up to a couple people that are doing this, and it starts to get, you know, comfortable. It's like, but they don't push through that wall, and that keeps you hindered. Especially if you're ready to go to that next level. You can only grow but so big in a pond. You need the ocean at some point. You need the ocean at some point, and you need to figure out how to get in that bitch and how to survive in that motherfucker. You feel me? It's nothing. If you're comfortable going back to the SeaWorld, cool, do so. You feel me? But you'll be miserable in SeaWorld once you taste the ocean. You'll be miserable in SeaWorld once you taste the ocean. Because now as the entrepreneur, that mindset, the mindset it's now buried into the back of your mind. You don't even have to think about it. Like I said, you no longer have to wake up in the morning and say, okay, let me watch my motivational videos to get me right. No. You don't have to do that shit anymore. It's like, yo, your only objective is to figure it out and make it grow. Figure things out, make them grow. You don't have to think about how to get your mindset to transition into those things. So you have to transition to that shit in real life. You know, start swimming with the sharks. Start swimming with the orcas. You feel me? And it's not lonely. It's not lonely up there. It's lonely when you don't want to be friends, motherfuckers. You scared to go into the, oh man, y'all about to go hunt. Anybody bringing y'all food? Like, they're not gonna come on a bucket and whistle at you and get you excited and say, hey, here's your food. Nah, it's like, yo, you gonna go get that motherfucker. I'm like, that motherfucking sea lion look good as fuck, bro. Hey, I'm about to go get that fucking sea lion. But now you make a strategy with your team. Hey, yo, this sea lion is swimming all alone. How y'all want to rock it? All right, look, this is what we're going to do. When that motherfucker isolate, we're going to surround that motherfucker. When we surround it, we're going to tear it to pieces. I want the stomach, bro. I want the stomach. I'm going to tell you right now, I want the stomach. Well, that's cool, because I don't eat that much, so let me get a little leg or some shit like that. Yo, say the eyes for me. You feel me? It's little plans and shit that they do in the fucking wild and shit. It's funny as hell. But that's the mentality that they have. There's no more do for me. It's like, how do I'm going to do for myself. You feel me? That's not even a question. I'm going to do for myself. But now, I have to now maneuver with the right people who are going to be aligned with the things that I'm doing. And that's what an entrepreneur is. You make a lot of networks. You make a lot of connections. You make a lot of different, you come into a lot of different dynamic spaces that now create the better aspect for you. It's like, yo, so now you're traveling with the orcas and shit, and now you're learning from them. You're learning from the orcas that you joined the orcas that are in the fucking water. They're no longer shamus. You feel me? They're no longer shamus. They're all orcas. They're all killer whales now. And it's like, yo, bro, they'll tell you, hey, look, bro, don't get caught swimming by them sharks by yourself. Yo, fuck with us. You feel me? They don't fuck with us in packs, but hey, it'll be a one-on-one fight. You might win. But I'm saying, bro, you came from SeaWorld. You ain't never banged with us. We grew up in this shit. You feel me? We've been in this shit. We've been in these motherfucking waters. You feel me? We're going to show you how to maneuver. The octopus, don't get too close to him to shoot ink at you. You feel me? Like, don't get caught slipping. Be sure not to go too deep to where you can't see in that water no more. You feel me? Only motherfuckers that can probably survive that deep is the motherfuckers with the little lances on their faces, on their heads. You feel me? And they'll use that shit to lure your ass, thinking it's just a light, and they'll eat the fuck out of you. You gotta be careful. You feel me? It's levels to this game now. You feel me? Now you gotta fuck with people who've been in the waters and know how to navigate. That's why it's lonely, because now you're scared, because you feel like you're out of place. You feel like, I shouldn't be running with them. Yes, you should. You have to run with them to learn how they're running. You feel me? Especially if you want to go into that next phase, if you want to go into that actual aspect of being an entrepreneur. You feel me? Shit got real for me once I actually quit my job and left it. Like, I'm like, yo, I got to do this shit 100% by myself. Oddballs get thrown at me, things like that. I was like, yo, man, this shit, it's different now, bro. It's fucking different now, bro. Like, this shit different, but you got to push through. Now you got to figure out, okay, who can I talk to? Not somebody, I don't need somebody who I can just talk to get my mindset right. I need somebody to talk to get my actions oriented correctly. You feel me? You feel me? Like, when an entrepreneur finally, like when you lead the entrepreneur mindset, like if you talk to the average entrepreneur, they're the ones who are giving you the motivation. They're the ones who are trying to, help you get the mindset right. But it's like, ask them what they're doing. Ask them what they're doing, who they're looking up to. They reach a point where they're no longer talking about motivational speakers. They're no longer talking to motivational speakers. They're now talking and interacting with doers. Motivational doers, bro. Like, yo, you did this. Show me why you did this. You feel me? I don't want your template. I want to know what pushed you through. Show me the depths of what this is and start to teach me. Let me sit at your feet for a second. You feel what I'm saying? When you have just the entrepreneur mindset and you're becoming a big fish in a small pond, you're teaching a lot of people. You're at the position where you're now, people are coming to you. Now you got to switch that again, and you got to be the student again. You got to be a student again and start interacting with people in your niche that are doing what you're doing, have done what you're doing, and doing it well. You feel what I'm saying? It's not just as simple as, yo, I got this thing, now I'm going to do it. It's knowing, okay, now I've been doing it. Now I need to do it better. Who's doing it better than me? How are you doing it better than me? Like, what is it that I'm missing? What is it that I'm not saying? You have to sit at these people's feet and learn these things. You feel me? You have to learn these things. That's what it is to be an entrepreneur. It's all about action. It's no longer about the mindset. It's about the action. The mindset should already be solidified once you go into that ocean. You feel me? You should not be working on having to get your mindset right. You feel me? Your mindset should already be right. And now your actions have to be right. You have to continue to do the actions. You know, it was one thing, like I said, I use my books as one of my main examples, because like it was one thing to sell when I first released my book. I had a decent amount of followers on social media and shit, and motherfuckers was buying it. But then it got to a point like, I can't sell to y'all again. Y'all already have the book. Y'all already read it. Like, what the fuck I'm gonna do? Okay, I'm gonna write another book, okay, and sell it to the same people. Y'all support me. And after that, it's like, what the fuck, bro? Like more people need to see your shit. More people now. So how do you expand? How do you scale? How do you learn how to do these things? How do you advertise to put this shit in autopilot? These are things you don't get with the entrepreneur mindset. These are the things you get as the entrepreneur, because now you have to go and interact with people who are doing these things. You know, selling online courses. It wasn't as simple as, hey, I got a course, come buy it. No, you got to give it to the motherfuckers who are looking for a course. You feel me? With the mindset, you have this, see, with just the entrepreneur mindset, they teach you how this over optimistic perspective that you can do anything. You can't. You can't. You can only do anything within the bounds that is supposed to be done. All right. Look. The markets are not a difficult place to understand. All right. You just have to know what you're looking at. And there's 5 things that you need to see before you can make any market entry. First, you need a pocket, so you can know which direction the market is going in. Second, you need a pullback, so you can get the better price. Third, you need a battlefield, so you can see when that market movement is slowing down. Fourth, you need the upper hand, so you can see when the market reactivates. And last, you need a final push, so you can see the exact moment when it's time to go with the direction you are already moving in. Okay? Of course, there's so much more that has to go into that, and it's not as cut and dry as that. But those are things that I teach in my Mastering the Market course. So if you would like to learn more, please visit IamJustSeen.com and check out the Mastering the Market course today. Although it is directed and specialized for Forex, all of the skills, I crafted them to be transferable to any market that you're looking at. So again, visit IamJustSeen.com and check out the Mastering the Market course today if you are truly looking to master the market. Oh yeah, and don't forget, while I still got you, you can use promo code QUARANTINE to save over 90% off of the enrollment of the full price of the course. That is QUARANTINE, QUARANTEEN. You feel what I'm saying? You thinking that, okay, I'm going to give my product to everybody. No, you have to give your product. You can only give your product to who wants it. And then now you take that to fine tune the details to find more people like those who want it. You feel what I'm saying? Everybody's not going to want your shit. It's that simple. Everybody's not going to want your shit. But now you have to go into the realms of leverage. You feel me? There's other aspects that you have to now tap into. Taking on somebody's audiences and learning from people that are doing what you're doing. You feel me? Because now it's different than just having that motivation. Yo, you can do this. I got up early in the morning every day and I did this, that, and the third, blah, 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 blah. Some motherfuckers ain't got to get up early in the day. You feel me? Some people ain't got to do that. You have to now, if you got to figure out what it is that you want and find somebody who's doing that and learn from them. You feel me? Put in that motherfucking work. And realize that you can't take the easy way out. You feel what I'm saying? Because you're in the ocean now. Like when I was in the EntrepreNEGUS, the imposter syndrome episode, I was talking about the imposter syndrome is simply a test. When you face the imposter syndrome, it's a test to see if you're ready for the next level. You feel me? If you say no, your mindset isn't ready for it. If you get scared and you get petrified and you don't want to get into the water, you're not ready. You feel me? But if you're like, yeah, I'm ready, I'm getting in the water, and you actually get in that motherfucker, even if you get back out, but you got in that motherfucker, you're ready. You just got scared. You got scared because you felt like, I wasn't supposed to. Yes, you were. That's why you got in the motherfucker. You're ready for it because you can't fit where you are. You can't fit where you are anymore. You're the big fish. Now you got to go back and be the small one and become a bigger fish after that. They say a shark can grow in a tank. If a shark is left in a tank, it'll only grow like 3 feet, but it can grow up to 8 feet in the ocean because it has space to move and truly develop the way it's supposed to. Literally when you stay in a pond and you're the big fish, you're stunting your growth. You have to go to that next level and you have to push through. And you can't be afraid of the shit. You feel me? You can't be afraid of shit. So as an entrepreneur, you figure it out. And a lot of the shit is action based. It's no longer, if I think I talk about perfectionism a lot of times. The entrepreneur mindset, it fucks with you because I had to stretch, sorry about that. But the entrepreneur mindset, it fucks with you because it creates the level of perfectionism. You feel like I gotta be 100% perfect before I get in the water. How do you know what you really need to fix? How do you know what you need to, what really needs work, what doesn't need work if you're not actively doing something? You can spin theory all day long. I got to think about this. Okay, what about this part, this part, this part? You don't know what you don't know until you experience something to show you what you're missing. You dig what I'm saying? Like they talk about, you got the known knowns, the known unknowns, the unknown knowns, and the unknown unknowns. You'll never get an unknown known or unknown unknown unless you're experiencing shit. You feel me? And you cannot be a successful entrepreneur. You can't be anything if you're just fucking with known knowns, the shit that you know. What about the shit that you don't know? You don't know what you don't know until you experience life and say, oh, I wasn't ready for this shit. I wasn't ready for this shit. You dig what I'm saying? I got to get ready for this shit. I got to get a lot more ready for this shit. So now I'm going to go fuck with people who are already prepared for that. And they can show me how to get ready. You dig what I'm saying? Like my homeboy, when I first started as an entrepreneur, he was already an entrepreneur. I was trying to do an MLM. He was actually moving products and shit, telling me about, drop shipping and teaching me these things and how to sell products and shit. I was like, damn, bro, teach me some shit. Teach me your ways, master. Teach me your ways, young grasshopper. I'm ready to learn. But he started to show me, it's deeper than mindset. You got to have action. You got to get up and do shit. Like you can read the 7 habits of successful people. There's no point in reading about 7 habits of successful people if you're not going to do the 7 habits. The fuck? I know so many people who have told me shit like they have regurgitated the habits and shit that successful people do, but yet you're not successful because you're not actively putting those habits into use. You feel me? The greatest entrepreneurial book I've ever read is called The Millionaire Fastlane. I can't think of the author's name. The Millionaire Fastlane, it strips all that bullshit out of the way. It's like, it basically says either you're going to do or you don't. Either you're going to do or you don't, and you're going to determine how you're going to do it, the speed you're going to do it. So he breaks it down into basically thought and action. The book is basically broken down into thought and action and slow lane and fast lane. Slow lane, fast lane, and sidewalk. You feel what I'm saying? He said, either you're going to realize what you have to do, knock it out, and go down. These 2 books I recommend everybody read if you're an entrepreneur, especially developing, whatever the case may be. Read The One Thing. I can't think of the author, but it's like the one thing to make I know the initial title of it is like The One Thing and the subtitle is something else. And I can't remember the author. I'm not good at remember the authors, just they work and their material. But it's The One Thing. It is a black and white book, right? And it's basically about how to do one thing at a time to make everything else easier. When you have that entrepreneur mindset is like, okay, I want to do all of these different things to make this work, this work, this work, this work, this work, this work. Like, no, that book breaks down, focus on one thing. Like when people be like, you got to get your priorities straight. Priorities aren't plural. A priority is one thing. You can't have multiple priorities. Because now when we get into that mindset, I have multiple priorities. You have multiple one things that you're supposed, like you can only do one thing at a time. So your priority is to find that one thing that makes the next thing happen, that makes the next thing happen, the next thing happen. And then you create the synergistic motion with how those things work after you solidify those. And then with the book, The Millionaire Fastlane, how that works is, like I said, it talks about the sidewalk, the slow lane, and then the fast lane. You got to, at some point, you have to realize, okay, I need to get off the sidewalk and at least get in the slow lane. And then once you have your one thing, you have your shit solidified, then you hop into the fast lane, you take the fuck off. You feel me? I'm not going to get the full details of those because I really recommend that y'all read those as entrepreneurs. Like, revolutionary. They change the game. They take all that bullshit out. You feel me? And another good one too is The Power of Habit. The Power of Habit. Again, I don't know who wrote that shit, but I know that it is a yellow and a red book. The Power of Habit. Those 3 books changed my entrepreneur mentality. They made me the doer. They made me they helped me become action oriented. I had a lot of theory at the time, a lot of mindsets, but then it made me, start to put things in perspective. I focused on my priority. What's the one thing that I need to learn how to do to make everything else work? And then once I started putting that into perspective, it started to work. You feel me? To keep going, to get myself into the fast lane, to get myself where I needed to be. You feel me? But all of that was about the action. It was about the action. It was it was no longer about the thoughts. I mean, it just what I'm thinking. You feel me? It's about what I got to put into use, what I got to put into practice. What have I done? You feel me? Like that. I don't know who sang it, but they got a song. What have you done for me lately? You feel me? Like, what have you done lately? Forget if your thoughts are there. Forget if you know what I'm saying, what you're thinking about. What have you done lately? You feel me? And that's the separating factor between the big fish in the small pond and the small fish in the ocean. Sometimes we get so wrapped up in, and this goes back to when I was talking about, I got an episode on the 12 laws of the universe. One of the laws is the law of relativity. Sometimes we look at the attributes and the adjectives associated with a thing, and we forget the actual dynamic of what the thing is. To hear that I'm the big fish in the small pond as opposed to the small fish in the ocean, these two fish can actually be the same fucking size. Same size fish, but relatively different sizes based off of their circumstances and their environment. You feel me? I know a lot of people, because I've involved myself with a lot of, and interacted with a lot of the entrepreneur-minded people. We were just big-ass fucking fish. You feel me? But then when it came into the ocean part, we were small again. And some of us can realize that, I'm the small fish now. And we get scared. But some of us are like, I'm the same size as I was when I was in that pond. What's the difference? Now I just got to figure out how to be bigger. You feel me? Case in point, back to the orca metaphor. You dig what I'm saying? Orca is going to be the same size in SeaWorld that it is in the ocean. Physically. Not mentally, though. There's not many fish that'll fuck with an orca. There's not many marine animals that will fuck with an orca. Orcas beat the fuck up out of great white sharks. And they make movies out of great white sharks about how terrifying they are. You have Jaws and shit and Sharks in a Tornado. Who the fuck made that stupid movie? This is a motherfucker who's an entrepreneur, not just an entrepreneur mind. You feel me? Entrepreneur mindset will see how ridiculous that shit is. Who the fuck put a fucking shark in a tornado? Fuck that. The entrepreneur says, fuck that. We're going to put sharks in a tornado. And we're going to make several movies off this motherfucker. And we're going to sell it to sci-fi. And we're going to make motherfuckers watch it. And they did. You feel me? You feel what I'm saying? But they create the great white shark. We're looking at it as, such a vicious animal. You have Jaws, you have all this shit. Great white sharks don't fuck with orcas. Orcas be beating the fuck out of sharks on National Geographic and the Animal Planet. They be fucking them up. You feel me? So it's like, it's all about the action, no longer the thoughts and the mindset anymore. It's about how you're going to survive, And that's that defining factor and that separating factor between just having the entrepreneur mind and being the entrepreneur. When you be something, you actively do something, you don't have to think about it anymore. You feel what I'm saying? But that's what practice is about. Practice is about using the mindset at that point so you no longer have to act in the actual moment. I mean, you no longer have to think in the actual moment. You can act. Your body literally can go on autopilot because now that shit is wired to your unconscious mind just to do. You feel what I'm saying? Just to do. And that's what you have to get comfortable being. You have to be comfortable being a doer, not just a thinker or a dreamer. You have to be comfortable being a doer. You feel me? One of the biggest hindrances of that is being afraid to fail. It's motherfuckers who are like, I want to be a successful entrepreneur, but don't want to fail. You're only successful as an entrepreneur when you overcome your failures. Plot twist to this whole entrepreneur game. Trust me when I say this, you fail far more than you succeed. On paper. On paper, you fail far more than you succeed. Nobody sees your failures because you turn them around. Your failure taught you the lesson to make you successful. You feel what I'm saying? So nobody sees that part. Oh, wow, I'm a fucking failure, bro. I'm a failure like a motherfucker. I failed a lot. You feel what I'm saying? Only reason, an experience teaches you how to overcome failures. And that's another hindering point to us when we're kids. You feel me? They fucked the 90s babies up, man. Late 80s, early 90s babies. My generation, they fucked us up because they started to teach us, everybody's a winner. You're not a loser. They started giving out bullshit awards like honorable mentions and shit. That fucked us up. Everybody's a winner. No, everybody's not a winner. You're not a winner until you overcome your losses. That's the problem. And that shit puts us into a mentality of we have to do it right the first time. Same with schooling. Think about this. You have a certain time frame to learn a certain subject to get it right. You dig what I'm saying? You don't have unlimited attempts to fuck up and learn where your mistakes are. You go on to the next one. You feel what I mean? When you in school and you take a test, if you fail that next test, you already going on to the next material. You don't never get to a point where it's like, so it creates a mentality that makes us feel like we have to be perfect right then. We don't have the room to fuck up. So you feel what I'm saying? Like that's what fucks up a lot of people. And we go through that for 12 years straight. Even in college, like everything that I had to do, it had to be perfect right now. The entrepreneur world, it ain't like that. It ain't like that. That's the real fucking world. It ain't like that. It ain't like, okay, if I learn a material, study it the first time, I get the A. Not with entrepreneurship. You get a lot of F's before you get the A. A lot. If you look, it's funny as shit when you really think about it. If entrepreneurs, now this is not the equivalent to say this is how it is in school, but if entrepreneurs were really had GPAs, a lot of GPAs would not be that high. They wouldn't be that high. Like GPA wise, it wouldn't be that high because you would have so many F's before you got that A. You feel me? That your GPA couldn't rise. It couldn't fucking rise. You had like a 1.9. You feel me? So it's like, we have become the perfectionist. That perfectionism has fucked us up because it's like, I got to get the A first. Now, on the other side of that, A students. Entrepreneurship is going to fuck you up. This is coming from somebody who was predominantly an A student. If you don't get it right the first time, you get very, very frustrated because you're not used to failing, because they never teach us how to learn how to fail, how to learn from a failure. Like when I remember the year that it changed. In the 3rd grade, we had like field day and shit. And if you ran the little track or whatever, you got dusted off. They only had 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place awards. Bitch, if you lost, you lost. You said, okay. They taught you. They like the parents, the teachers, the coaches, they taught you. Train for the next one. This is what made you lose. This is how you got to get better. That very next year, 4th grade, my 4th grade year in elementary school, they started giving out honorable mentions. Oh, you tried. Everybody's a winner. Oh, I ain't got to get better for real? You gonna give me an award any fucking way? And it's green? Okay, I'll take my honorable mention. Just because you participated. That ain't the same in this motherfucking world. That ain't the same in this entrepreneur world. Everybody's not a winner. That's in life. Everybody's not a fucking winner. Everybody loses. You feel what I'm saying? But what makes a winner is the person who says, I fucked up. I lost. How? How did I fucking lose? Why did I lose? Where did I go wrong? What was my mistake? Not, I didn't win. It's not for me. This isn't what I'm supposed to do. I really wanted it too, but oh well, it just ain't for me. You feel me? A lot of the people that have the connection to the higher source, the spirituality, God, Allah, Jehovah, Yeshua, Judah, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, whatever it is that you believe in, when you affirm that, if it ain't for me, then that mentality, it's got to stop. You cannot be an entrepreneur with that mentality that whatever's for me, I'm not going to have to work for. Pop, bullshit. You're going to lose every fucking time and you're going to quit every fucking time because you feel like shit ain't supposed to be hard. You have the entrepreneur mindset. That's the entrepreneur mindset, to feel like it's just supposed to be easy. Fuck no. The experience comes from the trials and the tribulations. The mindset comes from books. Reading about another motherfucker's successes. They don't tell you about their failures. They don't have to. That's not why you fuck with me. You don't fuck with me because I fail. You don't fuck with me because I overcome failures. You fuck with me because I succeed. And you see my wins. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what made me the entrepreneur. It's not the actual part that I keep getting successful. I keep getting better because I'm acquiring shit through my experience. Not from reading these books, not from just having the mindset, but from having the action and overcoming my losses. You feel me? Saying, damn, I fucked up here. What did I do? How did I figure this out? How do I figure this out? Like, what am I missing? What pieces don't I have? Oh, damn, I can add this to the shit. I can add that to the shit. Oh, shit. Let me motherfucking twerk this right quick. You don't lose as a successful entrepreneur. You learn. You feel what I'm saying? You fail a lot. Don't get me wrong, but it's not, a failure doesn't stick until you quit. Always remember that shit. Always remember that shit. A failure does not stick until you quit. When you fucking give up, that's when you fail. You feel what I'm saying? But because we live in this mentality, in this society that has now created us to be, you have to succeed the first time. No. That's why a lot of people's mental health is fucked up. Because when they do lose, they start to get anxiety, they start to get depression. Like, I can't catch up. Like in college, they tell you start off strong so you can keep that GPA up. The moment you get a bad grade, that bitch drops. You feel me? That bitch drops. And it's hard as fuck to come back up. Now you like, damn, bro, I got 4 A's. I got 1 C. And then now I need 12 A's just to bring my shit up 2 points. My GPA up 2 points. It's just stupid. That's just stupid. Did you learn the material? Did you learn the concept? Did you master the shit? No, they teach you to memorize shit just to pass the test. And that fucks you up. Because now when you actually go to critical thought, when you actually go to realms of critical thought, you can't. You know what critical thought is developed? When you overcome a fucking failure. Entrepreneurs are critical thinkers because they overcome their failures. Now they can start to think of other ways to do shit. I remember when I did this and this happened. I fucked up. But here's what I seen, the undercut. Like you start to learn how to critically think faster. You feel me? To where you can say, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna go ahead with this experience because I know at this point I gotta learn something. I'm missing something. But what is it that I'm missing? You don't know what you're missing until you experience it, and it shows you what you're missing. And then now you can go. Now you can process it. There's gotta be more things that has to, like, that's where critical thought is developed when you lose. When you lose. You feel me? When you fail and you overcome that shit. You feel me? That is the mindset. That is like, it's not just regurgitating information. The critical thinker is the motherfucker who, no matter which realm I'm in, this goes back into the whole Shamu and Orca metaphor. You feel me? You don't have to critically think in SeaWorld. They're going to provide you for your food. They're going to tell you when it's time for you to come out for sunshine and see the people. They're going to tell you all this shit. In the ocean, you got to critically think all the fucking time. You have to be dynamically be a critical thinker. Oh shit, is that an octopus pulling up on me? All right, let me back up, because that bitch shoot ink in my eye. This gonna fuck up my day. Because I ain't gonna be able to see. You feel me? Oh, this motherfucker caught me slipping. Today's just me and my homie. We ain't in the whole set. And now he bring all the great whites and shit. Now we got beef. Like, you got to critically think on how to maneuver and dynamically stay on point. The shit is not cookie cutter. You feel what I'm saying? It's overcoming your losses that creates the critical thought for you. You feel me? But a lot of us are trying to critically think before we lose. You can't. What the fuck are you thinking about? Really think about that shit. How do you know what you don't know? That's why you don't know it. If you knew it, you wouldn't have to think about it. You feel me? But we spend all of this time. I've done it. You feel me? Like I said, in the entrepreneurial mindset, I used to do that shit all the time. Okay, I can't make the leap yet because I don't know that. I know that it's something I gotta have here. So now you try to bring in all different kinds of scenarios to what things are supposed to be, what things you're supposed to be adding into this shit that you don't even know you need to add. And then you only find out that after you've learned all of this material and all this other extra shit, and you actually do the action for the first time, you're like, I wasted a lot of time. Half this shit I didn't even need. I would have known what shit I actually needed had I just gone through the shit and let it tell me, bruh, you need to do this part. You feel me? I use myself as an example for this one. When I learned day trading, when for real, when I actually learned it, I realized how much time I wasted learning this shit. Because I was trying to know everything. You don't need to know everything. You need to know what's going to make you successful. If you don't take anything else from this shit, if there's nothing else you can take from this shit, take this away from this shit. This is for those perfectionists. These are for the people that get stuck in their heads and everything. you don't need to know everything to be successful at it. You need to know enough to make you successful about the shit. And I'm using this example with day trading. Now, I do now know a lot of the shit about day trading, right? Because I spent time with, let me study the Fibonacci. Let me study the MACD. Let me study the EMAs. Let me study all of these different indicators. Let me do this and do that and read this book and this book. When I actually said, fuck it, let me go through somebody who's fucking with the experience. You feel me? Who's an active day trader. And it's like, oh, bro, you don't use indicators? Why the fuck am I using indicators? Teach me your ways. How do I do this shit without an indicator? Oh, shit. Then I started putting all this shit together, and then I started to see how the indicators work. When I started to see how the indicators work and all of this other shit, I'm like, bro, I wasted so much. When I say I wasted about 2 years of time, I wasted about 2 years of time. 2 years of time learning how to day trade. Was it worth it? Fuck no. Fuck no. 2 years of time as an entrepreneur? No. Doesn't work. Yeah, it gave me different skills. It gave me different shit to actually put a course together of my own. It's like, oh, okay, cool. Based off of all these things, it gave me a more solid structure and everything like that. But at the end of the day, I wasted time. I wasted time because I thought in my entrepreneur mindset, not as an entrepreneur, but as an entrepreneur mindset, I gotta learn this. I gotta learn this. Oh, this is what you're doing. This is how you're doing it. This is how you're doing it. No. And that's one of the problems that happens with a lot of people. We get so tied into knowing and trying to be perfect. And then when we go through the shit, we realize how much time we wasted because we didn't really need to know half of the shit or a decent amount of the shit that we actually wasted our time on. You feel what I'm saying? A lot of the shit that we wasted our time on, I'm like, bro, I could have really been ahead of the game right now. And now that starts to fuck with you because you be telling yourself, damn, if I would have just known this information a little bit earlier, you would have, if you would have been willing to experience it, if you would have been willing to fail. The fear of failure is fucked up. You have to stop fearing failure. Embrace it. Failure is where you learn. The fear of failure keeps you from wanting to fail. So you try to do everything to be on point. What Mike Tyson say? Everybody got a plan till they get punched in the mouth. You can train all you want to. You can prepare all you want to. You can see the right jab coming. But until that bitch connect and it's different, it's like, oh, shit. You think you can take a punch. You think you can do all these things. Yeah, I trained the motherfucker, got my neck muscle strong. I got all of this. I'm used to the sparring and shit. But then it's like at that moment when you're actually fighting that person or when you're having that battle, you can't control how you're going to respond when you catch that mean hook. You feel me? You midway through your jab, they weave and connect like a motherfucker. You're like, damn, how do you prepare for that? You can't. You have to adjust right in that moment. That's what it's about as an entrepreneur. That's what it's about in its reality. You have to adjust in the fucking moment. You feel what I'm saying? The big fish in a small pond doesn't have to adjust to the moments. The moments are adjusted to them. When you're in the ocean, you got to adjust to the motherfucking moments. High tides, low tides, the temperature's dropping. You feel me? You're special in SeaWorld. Let's make sure we keep the water at this particular temperature. We don't want to. Nah, bitch, it's winter. I need to go swim to where it's hotter, bro. Fuck that. I'm not about to be in this motherfucking freezing ass salt water. Kiss my motherfucking ass. So I got to migrate. I got to start to adjust. I got to start to say, okay, well, the water's about to start getting cold and I don't fuck with it. Or I'm not going this deep because the water's too fucking cold. And I'm not that cold. I'm not cold natured like that. You feel what I'm saying? It's little things like that you have to learn to adjust in the moment. How do you adjust them other than experiencing them and learning to adapt? You feel me? That big fish complex is like you're afraid of failing. You feel me? Therefore, if you're afraid to fail, you're afraid to learn and don't even know it. You feel me? Because the only way you can overcome a failure is to learn why the fuck you lost, why the fuck you failed. You feel me? And accept it. You feel me? Our mentality is so fucked up just from our own education system that you feel you have to be perfect from the jump. And that's what hinders a lot of people. That's what scares a lot of motherfuckers. You feel me? I know in my culture, you feel me? If we got bad grades in school, motherfuckers just thought we was bullshitting and playing. You would get whoopings. You get put on punishment, have shit stripped away from you. So it's like, I just didn't get the concept. And they moved on. they didn't help me get it. We just moved on. They didn't, like, nobody had time. I had to get it right then. You can't. Life don't work like that. You don't get it the first time, but we're so stuck on that shit that we got to be perfect. And then when we develop the mentality and we develop the training to be able to know, like, they teach you how to pass the test. They don't teach you how to master material. You ever wondered why, if you watch, Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? The fifth graders be whooping the adults' ass because they learn enough. They learn it to pass the test. They learn it to get the A in the course, to pass the test. What people don't understand is about this K through 12 education system. It's not a system, it's the training module. How well you can pick up a concept and keep it for a certain amount of time in order to pass the test. Not to actually know it. You feel me? I'm 30. I just went to go help my little cousin. He turns 15 Saturday or whatnot. And he's doing geometry. I think it's geometry. You know, with because they were doing proofs and conditionals and translations and transformations on things like that. All of my family, you feel me? They called me. They was like, can you come help him with his homework? I was like, first they called me over the phone. I'm glad I just went over there. They was like, he need help with his homework. Can you help him? What is it? It's math. I got to see that shit. I'll be over there. You feel me? But when I seen it, I'm like, I'm familiar with this. I remember how to do this shit. Right? It wasn't that I remembered it. I knew it. When I passed the test off that shit, it's because I knew the concept. You dig what I'm saying? And I knew it because of the failures that I had made. So as I'm going over with them, I'm like, so where's your notes? I don't have notes. Why the fuck don't you have notes? I get that you smart and I get that you, like, why don't you have notes? You take notes? Yes, I write everything fucking down. If I'm learning something new, I write the shit down. And I have to figure out why it worked. You feel me? I literally just taught him that concept as I was showing him that. So as I'm going through the homework with him, I'm like, all right, cool. So what did you learn from this? You feel me? Not just to get the right answer. What did you learn from this shit? Because you're going to have to get the right answer again. Not just for this particular one. You have to get that right answer again. You feel what I'm saying? As I got over there, he was so defeated because he had been so used to getting things right. He's like, man, I just can't get this one right. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I said, all right, relax, bro. You're going to figure it out. The way he lit up after I showed him the concept and I showed him, okay, now write this down. Write what you did down that made this work. Well, okay, I know that. Because the thing was, like, with transformations and shit, like, if it was a parangular. So if the bitch moved to the left or some shit, it was a positive X movement, move to the right. Then it's like you had to move shit outside of parentheses. So as we're finagling this shit, and he's figuring it out. I'm like, are you writing down what you, he's like, yeah. So if it moves to the left or the right, that means it's a move in the X direction. So that means it has to be inside parentheses. Okay, cool. Write that down. Keep that concept. That's the principle you need to see. These are the details, but that's the principle you need to see. All right. So what happens if it moves up and down? Well, if it moves up and down, that means that this number has to go outside of the parentheses because it's no longer associated with X. It's now associated with Y. Bam. Now you got the concept. If it goes up, what are you doing? It has to be positive. If it goes down, it has to be negative, right? Then it had another point where the motherfucker would shrink and condense and it'll fan out. That was a part of division and multiplication. I'm saying, do you see how all of these concepts tied in? He was like, I get it. So I said, all right, now show me the next one. And he was like, I said, refer to your notes. If you forget, refer to your notes. Like, stop trying to remember it right now. You're learning this concept for mastery. You feel what I'm saying? But that's how we've been programmed in this world as thinkers, to be right the very first time. You feel me? To be right the first time, not to fail and learn how to be right permanently. You feel what I'm saying? Anybody that I know that has a solid concept, a solid understanding of something, they failed that bitch. They failed that shit and stuck at it. You feel me? See, in the entrepreneur world, you have to do that. You have to go through your failures and say, oh, I fucked up on this. You feel me? You don't know how many times I got stopped out in a trade because the bitch was in the wrong direction. I didn't know it. You feel me? Larger players were going to kick in and take the shit out. It happened. You feel me? Learning how to advertise and market my books and my podcasts and all of this shit to get a bigger audience and shit. Like, it wasn't just as simple as I'm going to post every single day. That's impossible. I realized I couldn't do that shit. I had to learn that it was just giving me limited results. So I figured out what I was missing. And as I'm figuring out what I'm missing, I'm failing. As I'm learning this shit, I'm failing it. But as I'm failing, I'm learning why I'm failing. Yo, what am I doing wrong? Oh, I need a pixel, bro. I needed my own website. I needed to connect my pixel to my website so I can generate my traffic and say, oh shit, I didn't know that I can leverage these motherfuckers who like my shit all the time and make a whole audience pool out of them so I don't have to go find motherfuckers. Oh shit, this is dope. Like, the shit's stuck in my head now. Shit's stuck in my head. You feel me? That's what it's about. Entrepreneurship, like I said, you're gonna fail. If we had to gauge an entrepreneur's GPA, that motherfucker, like, I don't think there will be many entrepreneurs. Like, the truest entrepreneur, it's crazy. The most successful entrepreneur, I can almost put money on it that the GPA it would have been low. Like, their entrepreneur GPA is low as fuck. It's probably the other way. Motherfuckers got like a 0.8. You feel me? You feel me? You got a 0.8. Because it's like, yo, you have to fail that many times at the same concept to get it, to truly see what you're not seeing. You feel me? You don't know what you're missing until you actually experience something and it's not there. You feel me? What more do I have to do? But when you try to do it the other way, that is because that's what we're trained to do. We're trained to do that. We're trained to become big fish in a small pond. I got it right the first time. As opposed to the motherfucker who got it right. You feel me? Who now you can come back to, oh, I get it. You're a bad motherfucker when you can get it right and retain it the first time. You feel what I'm saying? But you have to realize how to fail. You have to realize how to fail things and reverse engineer shit that you failed at to see where's the moment that I fucked up. Don't throw the whole shit away. You feel me? That's what we do. And in that perfectionism, in getting caught up in being a perfectionist and getting caught up in imposter syndrome, it keeps us as the big fish in the small pond. And it never allows us to be the small fish in the motherfucking ocean.
And don't forget to take a moment to go get your exclusive merchandise from Just Scenes merch. At Just Scenes, each piece is specifically crafted with positive imagery and symbolism. From the titles and designs to the descriptions, each style gives you something to feel great about. With everything from hoodies and tees to coffee mugs and tote bags, we have something for the entire family. So be sure to get yours today. Find us on Instagram at Just Scenes merch and get your merchandise right now.
All right, so I'm gonna wrap it up there. I'm gonna end on that note. I wanted to do this. I wanted to do this one because I feel like this is the opposite, in my opinion. Like, this is like the other side of the imposter syndrome. Like, when you become the big fish in the small pond, that ego's there. You the biggest motherfucker in this bitch. Like, I don't have imposter syndrome. I know I'm supposed to be here, but I know I'm supposed to stay here and not supposed to grow. I'm not supposed to grow. So that's why imposter syndrome kicks in, because now when I hit the ocean, I feel like, well, if I don't have to have imposter syndrome, if I go back to the pond, I was supposed to be there. You're supposed to be in the ocean too, but you're supposed to be growing. You feel me? You're supposed to be growing. But see, growth is a twofold process. It's about ascension and expansion. A lot of us just want to expand, or some just want to ascend, but you never want to do both. You have to do both. You have to go up and you have to go out as you grow. You dig what I'm saying? That's what this shit is about. Like, you have to change your mindset to go from being an entrepreneur, being just entrepreneur minded, just to being an entrepreneur. Like I said, when I always used to say, I want, my woman, the woman that I'm with, to be entrepreneur minded, I started to realize I was attracting entrepreneur minded women, but they weren't entrepreneurs. They wanted to be, they just didn't have that push factor. You feel me? When I said I wanted entrepreneur-minded friends, everybody, like, I kept meeting friends who was like, yo, we're entrepreneur-minded, but they wouldn't cross through and push through that wall and become the entrepreneur. And I realized it's because I had to now set that intention. I need entrepreneur friends. You're already beyond the mindset state. And this is the state that you have to get yourself to. The entrepreneur mindset is only going to get you so far. You can have so much theory and so much, have experience. Fuck up. And I say this, like, they say that youth is wasted on the young, but it's not. Fuck up while you're young. You feel me? The fresher you are with your fuck ups, the fresher you are with something when you're fucking up, the more time you can afford yourself to learn from that experience. You dig what I mean? If you feel like you've been in something and you're now trying to beat the clock, you're not going to give yourself much time to actually learn anything you fell from. You feel me? You're not. You're gonna go back to the training that you're used to from K through 12. I have to get it right the first time. I got to get this A on this test. Okay, so the syllabus says I got to do here. I'm gonna prep. No, the teaches you how to pass a test, not learn material. So motherfuckers can't remember shit. This is why fifth graders are smarter than adults. You feel what I'm saying? But then at some point, those fifth graders are going to become, I forgot all of that. I haven't been in school in so long. You shouldn't have forgot it. You shouldn't have forgot it. You feel me? Because learning should be an experience. It's about an experience. That's what you retain. You don't retain the information. You retain the experience with the information. You feel me? We don't have experiences with our information that we learn. That's the problem. You feel me? I know a lot of people are like, yo, I hate math. Why you hate math? Because math is something that you have to experience. Math is something that you have to fail at to get. You have to get the problems wrong and figure out why you get them wrong. You feel me? But like I said, they start off teaching us that if you don't, you have to memorize it. You feel me? When we used to do times tables, that's what we used to call them back in the day. When we used to do times tables, you know, it's like you had to remember them. Like you had to not phonetic, you have to visually remember them. So like you get your flashcards and get all that. They never really taught you how to understand why this is the case. You know? When I learned mathematics and shit, when I was learning division and multiplication and shit like that, they gave us several different mediums to try to figure out how to do this. They didn't just give us flashcards and then move us on. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, it wasn't me having to like, I can sit and break down why like the things were working. And that helped because I failed at them at first. You feel me? It wasn't just, okay, you failed this. Here's the right answer. Now memorize it. Nah. Now you have to figure out why that answer is. Now that puts us into a position where everything we learn, everything we experience in life, we do that. We feel like we got to get it right the first time. And if we fail it, we try to give ourselves some kind of justification. It just wasn't for me. What's for me, I won't have to work for it. Yes, you will. What's for you, you're going to fail at. How about that? Let's take it. Let's show that that's the reality to it. What is really for you, you're going to fail at several times. But because it's for you, you're going to be given the resources to overcome the loss. You're going to be given the resources to continue and think through it and grow through it. You feel me? It's not going to be easy. Nothing that comes to you easy is worth having. Nothing that comes to you easy is yours. You feel what I'm saying? You can't copy and paste. You have to study and create. You dig what I'm saying? If you plan to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to be prepared to fail. Be prepared to overcome a failure. We're not prepared for that. Nobody's prepared for failing. Nobody's prepared for losing. You feel me? Everybody thinks like when I first became an entrepreneur and shit, I wasn't turning money in it originally. So the people that I'm like, well, you ain't making no money. Like, what are you like? Are you sure it's working? Yes, it's working. You don't know what I'm learning. You don't know how I'm fucking up and fixing this shit along the way. But you're talking to people who are used to that. You can be discouraged by talking to the wrong motherfuckers who are used to and programmed to, I get it right the first time. I've been taught all that you have to get it right the first time. So I give up and quit because I didn't get it right the first time. You feel me? As so many people say, I tried that when I was there and it didn't work out. It didn't work out for you. It worked out great for me. Do you know why? Because when I failed, I learned. I learned what I needed to do to fix that shit. I learned what I needed to do to make it better. I learned what I needed to do to win. Now I can duplicate my wins. And I can duplicate them a lot faster. But I gotta lose. I gotta fucking lose. I have to lose. But I have to learn that a loss is not a loss. It's a lesson. I have to figure out the lesson. We get emotional. We get fucked up when we lose. We get fucked up when we fail because we've never been taught to cope with failure. We've never been taught how to overcome it. This is why we're able to be comfortable being a big fish in a small pond. If I'm in the pond, I don't have to worry about failing. I don't have to learn shit. You feel me? Shamu doesn't know what it's like. Shamu's not going to have to know what it's like to miss a meal. Shamu's not going to know what it's like to let a hunt go bad. because he fucked up on this hunt. And now he has to learn, okay, we can't let this motherfucker get, like, you feel what I'm saying? I know now that I have to do certain things to make sure that this is guaranteed. You feel me? It's different. We're so programmed to being perfect. We're so programmed to being right the first time that we can't fail. We literally program our minds to say, I can't fail, so I got to make sure I do this. Like, and you get so used to doing that shit. And then when you do that shit so fucking much, K through 12, freshman year to college, undergrad, master's program, PhD, you've been programmed to get it right the first time. Over time, you get to that point. You feel me? Like we look at college and shit and be like, yo, college is for smart people. No, college for people who have been trained to get it right the first time. That's it. They're not necessarily smart. They learn how to get it right the first time. I would never forget when I first started taking like EOG tests and stuff like that, and end of grade test and the reading test, they would always teach us, don't read the whole passage. Go read the questions first, then skim over the passage so you can find the important details and then mark the answer. Oh, all this time I've been reading the passage and trying to understand it. They said, and this is what the teacher told me, they give you boring material on purpose. They give you this shit on purpose. Not for you to read it, but to see how you can extract the answer. That's why a lot of motherfuckers can't read now. And by read, I mean comprehend. Because you learned how to read and you learned how to pass a test. Go to the questions, read the questions. Now I'm going to go back to the passage. Okay, I remember a question about this, highlight that. I remember a question about this, highlight that. I remember a question about this, highlight that. Now, let me match the answers. You don't know what the fuck you just read. You don't know what the fuck you just read. They have structured life this way. Life has been structured this way. So the entrepreneur is like, when you are on that cusp of trying to transition into it, that's what's holding you back. That's what the fear is. Because now it's like, I can't fail. I can't fail. Because now that you have been structured and into a cookie cutter system that teaches you how to be right the first time without even being right. A lot of times motherfuckers be wrong as shit. Wrong as shit, but you learn to be right the first time. Not learn to be right overall. It's why a lot of us are impatient with the shit. It's why a lot of us, we can't wait to see the results. We don't let our results build. Because like, I gotta be right the first fucking time. No. You gotta be wrong the first fucking time to even know what it is to be right. Because it's in the wrong that you like, this shit ain't, I'm missing something. You feel me? Don't get frustrated and, oh, I just can't get it. Yes, you just can't get it. You're not supposed to get it the first time. Anytime you get new information, anytime you're supposed to get new information, it's supposed to expand your mind. Different nerve impulses are supposed to come into play. Parts of your mind, recesses of your mind that have never been accessed should be accessed when you're learning new information. Why? Because you never experienced it before. But if you're going through it and it's easy, you just, okay, bam, I remember this. No, you remember how to pass that, how to get the A on that shit, not how to actually do the problem, not how to actually solve it, how to actively, critically think and say, I got this wrong. Why did I get this wrong? Let me go back and see what the fuck. Oh, this was supposed to be here. That was supposed to be this. Nah, you don't do that. Why? Because you're taught to keep going. You feel me? Think about that shit, bro. You take a test in school. You feel me? You got first 3 weeks, you get your material, you take that first test, right? You get a D on the test, right? You now move on to the next 3 weeks of content. You didn't even grasp the first weeks and now you're still going? This shit compounds and it builds. Damn, I don't have time to go back and review where I fucked up, but I have to keep up with this part. You see, it's designed to make you get it right the first time. But it's not designed to make you learn the shit. You feel me? And that applies to our entrepreneurship. That applies to our reality. We always we've been conditioned to think that we're learning when we're not. We're being trained. We're being trained. And it's not until you actively have to use your mind that you realize, oh shit, I can't, I had people say shit like, I don't think I can learn day trading. Why not? Because you're not willing to spend time with it. You're not willing to fuck up. I was willing to fuck up. That's how I was able to learn it. You feel me? You're still going to fuck up. Even if you learn it from somebody, you're still going to fuck up because you need your own experience with the information to see why this shit makes sense. You feel me? In the way in which I teach way in which I teach day trading, investing, and all of that shit, like I teach you the template and everything like that, but you still got to experience it. So if you do like, oh, when you go and apply it, you see it and you see it real time. I break down why you should see this. You dig what I'm saying? Not just, yo, look for this pattern and now you got this pattern and now you should know, because that pattern can fuck you up if you're in the wrong direction, if you haven't correlated the charts right to know what's going on. You know how I learned that? I ain't correlate the motherfucking charts and I went in the wrong direction. That bitch fucked my account up. Nigga, shit. I know that shit now. You feel me? It's little things like that, but it comes from experience, the failure of it all. You feel me? I got people, when I first started from my entrepreneur journey and shit, they were like, like when I first, oh, you're not making money right now. Damn, give me time. The fuck? Like, can I, they think I'm supposed to be matching the salary that I had and all of that shit within a week. No. Because everybody's like, you're supposed to get it right the first time. No, you're not. You're not. And that's what can create the imposter syndrome. You feel me? Because the big fish in the small pond gets it right the first time, every time, and stays in that realm of, I'm just going to stay here because I can get it right the first time. You feel me? Nah, be willing to get it wrong the first time and learn why you got it wrong. Because then once you become the small fish, and when you start navigating as a small fish in the ocean and shit, you realize how much fun this shit can really be. But it's levels to what you have to go through. It's levels to what you have to do. You feel what I'm saying? So I wanted this one because it's like, there's that other side of the entrepreneurship too. You feel me? I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not a motivational. I don't want to motivate you to shit. I'm not trying to motivate you to do this shit. Because entrepreneurship in there, I'm trying to give you the light. I'm trying to give you the side of it. If you ain't built for this shit, don't come in here. Don't come in these waters. I'm gonna eat you alive. You feel me? I'm gonna be real with it. I'm not gonna be, everybody should start a business. No. If you're not able to, if you're not willing to fail, you will not make you will not be able to thrive in the ocean. You feel what I'm saying? If you have been conditioned and programmed, if you're so stuck in that mind that I have to get it right the first time, you're going to fuck up. You're not even going to want to challenge yourself. You're not even going to want to challenge yourself because the moment you get it wrong, you go, oh, okay, I'm going to try something different. I know so many entrepreneurs and shit. Like, I remember, entrepreneur minded, right? I knew this woman who, when I was first starting, she was trying to start too. And she was like, I want to do skincare. I was like, well, do you know chemistry? Nah, I sucked at chemistry. I didn't really like chemistry. Ugh. Okay, you going to learn chemistry. Why? Skincare has chemicals in it. The fuck? Like, you have to know how these chemicals work. You need to know chemistry. But chemistry was so hard, I couldn't get it the first time you tried it. But if this is something that you really want to do, you'll learn. You'll figure out how to make it work. You feel me? You're going to need chemistry. You're going to need biology. You're going to need certain things to know, okay, like, I just can't put this shit on motherfucking skin. Everybody has different types of skin. Like, you feel me? There's things you have to learn scientifically to make this shit work first. You can't just put shea butter on the list because you know that motherfuckers sell shea butter. So you go like, I'm going to sell shea butter and I'm going to use a different type of essential oil just to make it smell different. No. Because what essential oil are you using? Is it a top note? Is it a bottom note? You feel me? Is it a spicy? Is it antifungal, antimicrobial, antibacterial? Which one is it? What are you dealing with this essential oil? You feel me? Does it need a carrier oil? Does it need something diluted first before it put in that motherfucker? Like, what are you really going to do with it? You feel me? Just because shea butter works and everybody uses shea butter, just because you hear people using essential oils and use the common things, peppermint, lavender, and fucking orange and lemon, eucalyptus and shit. Do you know why this works? Do you know why this works? Oh, you don't? So now you're getting ready to face a fucking lawsuit if you're not ready, because you're going to sell it to this motherfucker. They could be allergic to the shit that you're putting in there. How you going to know if somebody's allergic to the shit? How are you going to know what an allergen is? How are you going to know how this shit's going to supposedly trigger in your mind? Experience and fucking up. You feel me? But there's ways to do this. You got to be able to challenge your mind and get it right and not be willing to, and that, like I said, so the big fish in the small pond is a motherfucker who's willing to do some shit like that. This is not a shot to her. You feel me? It's not a shot to her. You know what I'm saying? But it's about how the mindset is programmed to, if I don't know it, I'm not willing to go into that realm. I'm going to do what works. Cookie cutter shit. Everybody's selling shea butter. When I became woke and they started talking about entrepreneurship and shit, that's what everybody was selling. Shea butter. Shea butter. Like, why y'all selling shea butter? What it was? Because it's good for the skin. Okay. Is it good for all skin? What about people with oily skin? You feel me? I used to use shea butter and used to break my face out because I have oily skin. You feel me? I can't use shea butter. I have to use light shit. I have to use oils and shit that has a light base. Shea butter's too fucking thick. It's a butter. It's too fucking thick for my type of skin. You feel what I'm saying? So you really gonna sell shea butter to everybody? Like, you feel me? So it's like different things like that have to play into the factor, but it has to come into knowing and be willing to say, I can't fuck up. Like, get out of that mindset of fucking up the first time. And because you're afraid to fuck up the first time, you're only going to do what works. You're only going to, well, this already works. Somebody's already done this before me, so I'm just going to do that too. I'm like, no, then where's the competition? That's another part of the entrepreneurship, the competition and beating out the competition. How you going to beat out the competition if you're not even going to go to the next step the competition is going for? The competition, your competition right now is fucking up. Your competition right now is fucking up while you're trying to be perfect. They are fucking up, but they're learning through their fuck ups. You ain't learning shit because you're not fucking up. You're not fucking up because you just want to take the easy route. You just want it to be all perfect. It can't be. Perfection is an ongoing thing. You feel me? Perfection is an ongoing thing. It's an ongoing thing. It's not a means to initiate something. You don't have to be perfect to start. But I was looking up apps because I'm getting ready to start prepping one soon. But I was looking up apps, and one of the models was, if you wait until your app is perfect to put it out, you waited too long. This is why different apps have versions. Like the Instagram that we're using right now, that ain't the same Instagram from 2012. The Facebook we're using now, that ain't the same Facebook from 2007. You feel what I'm saying? The version's updated. You feel me? They update periodically for a better, quote unquote, a better seamless process. You feel me? Sometimes it gets worse. Sometimes it gets better. You know what I'm saying? But you have to learn that by fucking up. You have to go through and say, we're going to try this shit. Bam, here we go. This wasn't cool? Okay, start over. But now I got that skill to see why it wasn't cool. You feel me? I got that knowledge base. I failed and I learned from it. You feel what I'm saying? Separate your mindset out of that. Get out of just the entrepreneur mind and get back into the entrepreneur realm. You feel what I'm saying? Get into the entrepreneur realm where you're willing to fail. You're willing to now be around those people that are there, that are learning, because now you're in a different space. You feel me? And it requires you to do more. All right. So I'm going to leave it there and I'm going to end with this one quote. You feel me? And I feel like it's going to encompass this. If you're still the big fish, be the big fish, but be willing to learn. Be willing to fail so you can become the entrepreneur. But I will say this. It's lonely at the top when you do not want to affiliate with your equals. When you do not want to become friends with your equals, it is lonely at the top. All right? Remember that. Ain't no person to go with that. That's my shit. That's me. I just made a post about it not too long ago. That was my own individual thought. But anyway, it's only lonely at the top when you are afraid to befriend your equals, right? If you're afraid to befriend your equals, you will remain the big fish in a small pond because you always want to be seen as somebody that is greater than. So you're not going to involve yourself with equals, and you're necessarily not going to involve yourself with equals who can take you to another place. Feel me? New faces, new places. Shout out to my homie Will. You feel me? New faces, new places. If you want the same faces, guess where you're going to stay? In the same places. So with that, go follow me on Instagram at _just_scene_. Be sure to check out my website at iamjustscene.com to get all things Just Scene. Books, merch, courses, anything that you are looking to involve yourself in. Go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables and prepare them early to be able to fail and support their failures. Now, you can support them. This is where you have to keep this energy. We support their failures when they fall. We support their failures when they learn to talk. But never again after that we demand that they be perfect and get it right the first time. Stop doing that to your babies. If your baby crawls and then they fall, you still encourage them. Oh, you almost did it. You can do it. Keep it going. Right? When they start to talk, when they say the word wrong, you start to help them enunciate to pronounce it correctly. Keep that same energy for everything they do in life. That is going to create a critical thinker. You feel me? While they're in school, if they're struggling at a concept, don't just get mad at them and say that, like figure out why. Help them understand the conceptualization so they can maintain being a critical thinker, because it becomes automatic. When they are in a situation where I fucked up, I failed, let me figure out why I failed. Because this creates the perfectionism. And as we go in school, like that's why the stress gets in the higher up they go in school and academic and shit. And they feel like I can't be perfect the first time. I cannot get this shit right the first time. That's what I'm learning that our kids are really saying to us when they say they're struggling in school. I can't learn it the first time. It's never that I can't learn it. I can't learn it the first time. And as a parent, we overlook it because the parents were so stuck in the motherfucking loop that they were forced to learn it the first time, that they're trying to encourage their kids, be better than me. You can do, I can't do what you couldn't do. You can't even do that shit. So have the patience with your babies that they're not saying that they can't learn the concept. They're not calling themselves stupid, but they're coming off as stupid now, and they're internalizing themselves as being stupid because they can't get it the first time. Not many people can. Not many people can. Teach them to be comfortable with failing. Teach them to be comfortable with failing. If they lose at something, don't encourage them, well, just maybe you need to change directions. No, teach them how to win, because they can. They can, and they can overcome the obstacles. And when they grow up, they won't be in a position that a lot of us are in, where we feel like if we fuck up the first time, that's it for us. That's the end all be all. This just ain't for me. No, overcome that loss. Learn why you failed. Teach your babies to learn why they fail so they can become critical thinkers. And when they become critical thinkers, they will win a lot more. You feel me? But like I said, go kiss your babies and make sure they eat their vegetables. And I'm going to see y'all all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.